Hello everybody, welcome to Scorched Earth Toys at Anymoon.com's transformation guide for Arcadia's 160 scale VF-0D toys. If you have transformed the Yamato VF-0 toys, there won't be many surprises here. To get into it, you are going to pop the wing out of its connection to the lower leg here, and you do that by just pulling away from the body, like so. There's this plastic clip right here. It pinches in very securely into the leg right there. Repeating again on the other side, that frees the wings up. And then, as you would expect, again, if you're familiar with any Yamato toys, there is a couple pegs coming in off the legs, anchoring to the center of the body. So all you've got to do is apply pressure out away, and you will free up those pegs. And then applying pressure. You can see that one went. You can see there's one of the pegs. There's another one on the other side of that. And it's kind of hard to see, but you can see one right inside there going into the arms. So those are both freed up now. So we can then free up the peg that attaches to the back of the plane from the base of the leg. And so the best way to normally do that is to kind of bend it at the knee as you pull forward. And again, doing it again on the other side here, just kind of popping it up and freeing it up. And here is that peg that was attached to this slot here. So we can get it on the light there, on the back of the leg. So once that's done, now the intakes tend to pop off at this point too, but if they don't, you would just pull forward. There you can see you've got this now giant extension, and you have your hip intakes, or Gervalk joints as I commonly refer to them. And you can see you are already getting very close now to Gervalk mode. Alright, now we're going to pay attention to the legs. Here's the tail fin. It has a nice little pull up and swing over hinge to it. That lets you then bring that tail fin to the inside of the leg, like so. So again, just pulling up and away, rotating it over, and that brings that tail fin now inside of the legs. And of course, while we're here, we can pull down. Now this is incredibly stiff on these toys, and it was a problem on the Yamato toys that these things were too loose. You gotta really yank down and open up those feet. Again, coming over here, really yank down and open up the feet. Alright, from the top now, there's a couple things that we can do. Let's go ahead and bring up the backpack. It's just on a hinge. There you go, should do that action there. And then you have these front fins. Now my intakes have popped loose. Oh, and here goes the gun. My intakes have popped loose, so at this point I'm going to go ahead and secure those back up. Okay, so now that my intakes are back in, I'm going to go ahead and fold down these tail fins, or not these tail fins, these canards I should say, like so. Returning to that backpack we flipped over, we're now going to lift the antenna. Now, or I guess it's a landing hook. But either way, there is a little push mechanism underneath it. I generally need a toothpick to use it. But you push that in, bring it forward, and you will get these little thrusters in the back to come down and out like so. And you can just fold that back over. Okay, you're now pretty much in what they call VTOL mode, which is you just bring back these wings and it looks like a quasi-Gervalk without the arms out. So let's get the arms out. Flip the toy over. Now, a little pro tip here, you don't really have to do this, but you should unhook your intakes again. And the reason for that is this scratch right here. When you bring these arms around, the little clip that attaches to the base of the arm will scratch the hell out of your blue paint. Now, hasn't happened on this. And I've heard people that out of the box had this scratch just from how the toy was either transformed for shipping or whatever, but that is a bit of a bummer. So you want to you need to lift up to unseat the arm and then pull back to swing it around. So up and out. So the best way to do that is get your hand in there, pull up, pull around. Obviously it's a little bit easier if you don't have the weapons on the gun or on the wings. So here I am bringing the arm around, and here it is, getting close to that blue paint. You're going to swing it up. So this hinge is now up, and this is where if you rub on that blue paint you're going to scratch it right off. So you want to be careful to get that as far out of the way as possible, and then get your arm into the proper position and then flip it all the way out so that hinge now has a little bit of clearance from where that blue paint will be. Again on the other side, up and out, come around, bring the hinge out, keep coming. Now tuck the leg in, keep coming around, get that arm into position as far out as possible right there, and then reseat your intakes again. So you just bring them down. They will pop into place pretty easily and pretty securely, and then you can flip your toy over and you are now essentially in Gervalk mode. You're going to fine-tune some things. You can fold these wings over. That's how it appears in the anime. You could leave them out. Totally up to you. The last real step of transformation here is going to be pulling these hands out. And they can be really stiff the first few times you do it, but eventually not so bad. And there you go. You're in Gervalk mode. Let's continue on now to Battroid mode. You're going to focus on the legs to begin. So flip your toy over and you're going to unseat those intakes yet again. The instruction manual tells you that the best way to do that is to kind of pull the leg inward. There you go. I've got both of mine now disconnected. And really what you do at that point is straighten the legs out. So just going to straighten out that Gervalk joint. Very stiff. Straighten out the leg. Collapse it. Let's get the knee out of the way there. Like so. Rinse and repeat over on the other side here. Get the Gervalk joint collapsed. Get the knee up. And so stiff. Get that leg straightened out. Okay, now we're going to free up the head. It's got little trap doors on either side of it. Those trap doors have a little peg that seats into a little notch. Just bring a finger back behind, pull out and up and away, and that will free that door and the head like so. There we go, got that up and away. And you can see the head right there, ready to move. Now we'll flip the toy over, and we have a little tooth right behind the cockpit that we are going to free up next. So here we go. So now you can see that tooth is freed up. The fuselage has kind of separated from the main body. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and bring that heat shield down and forward. So the best way I've found to do this, and it's going to be kind of hard because I'm not left-handed, is to put my finger back here and just kind of pull forward, and you can see I'm getting separation now here. Let's go ahead and remove that. You want to keep that going. There it goes. So now you can see there's these two tabs that were slid into the chest. They're now free. So this can now come forward. Now also I've pulled the backpack back, and now this door opens up, which is going to give you your clearance to go ahead and pull the head through. The gun on the head has a little pivot joint to it, so we want to bring that as far back as we can so that we have as much clearance as possible as we go to push the head through that trap door we just exposed. Now we're going to go ahead and spin the head around. And there's the whole neck will spin with it. And then we're going to bring It's on a trap door. We're going to go ahead and bring that forward. And the gun should have no problem traversing the trap door that we've exposed. And it will keep going and come out on the other side. Your toy should look something like this at this point. And all you're going to do now is go ahead and pop the cockpit upward, which then makes it so the heat shield covers the whole thing. So if you're not covering the whole thing, you haven't done it properly. Alright, now we're going to get that crotch mechanism in place. The easiest way to do this is just to remove the pitot tube, although the instructions tell you to twist it and then twist it again a few more times as you get it through the legs. Again, easier just to pop it off, although I guess not quite as perfect as a transformation if you do that, but knowing that you can leave it on should be enough for you. So now we go ahead and open up this door, and we swing back the nose cone, approaching the metal plate for the legs, metal rod I guess I should say. Now you want to be threading this fatter piece of the metal rod through that notch in the plastic. It's a little bit like the original V2 VF1 crotch mechanism. You should be able to get it all to tightly and securely collapse into place. And there we go. So now everything is where it's supposed to be. And now I'll take my pitot tube and just put it back on there. Twist it upward like that, which is where they would have had you twist it had you left it attached the whole time. But then you might have pressed it up against the legs at any point. So again, easier just to remove it and reinstall it. And the back of the toy is a bit of a mess at this point, so we're going to start tidying things up here. Bring this back plate down, and then you can push the backpack down, and that gives you access to the metal rod in the back that needs to fit in the slot in the black plate. Might be a little difficult to see, so we're just going to bring that down. Not a super audible click, but it is now tucked into the proper position. Keep an eye on this, make sure you haven't popped out your legs at any point. Going back to this back plate here, it actually can tuck forward just a little bit more. So we're going to go ahead and bring it in there. You can see there's pegs on either side, a little forward slope there. Backpack nice and tight like so. Obviously you're really close at this point. Let's go ahead, if you haven't done it already, straighten out your feet so you can at least stand the toy up. And then remove the armament from the wings. I'm not going to need that where we're going. This would also be a good time to install your intake covers. It should fit on pretty easily, just like so. It can be a little tricky to pull these off, but they fit on. They fit on nice. There you go. So it fits on nice. Everything's secure. I'm just going to bring the wings back. They will run into each other. They should not run into your leg. They do not overlap in any way, shape, or form. It should just look like that. And then you've got your head laser, which should be angled backward. So we're going to go ahead and, it's got that double hinge. So you can bring back the gun and then bring forward on the hinge. Should get something like that. And there you have it. You are now in Battroid mode. So as always, there's a little fine tuning you're going to want to do at the end. My head is a little recessed here, so I'd pull that up and get that freed. It should be able to turn and look around and all that good stuff. The wings on the back, make sure they're not, again, hitting your legs so they can come all the way back and kind of touch each other but not overlap. Backpack should be up. There's an option where you can actually pull the intakes out, away from the body, and then get a more dynamic As to not mislead anyone, removing the leg is not part of transformation, and I very much recommend you do not do that. A little bit of surgery and I was able to get it back on. Definitely check out my full review on anymoon.com, and as always, thanks for watching.